So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're joining us from. My name is John Mason. I'm from Charles Darwin University, and it's my great pleasure today to be introducing Professor Shenquan Yu to be talking about his recent work focused on moving from a learning object model towards a learning cell, a new resource aggregation model for ubiquitous learning. So just let me say a few words about Professor Yu. He is currently a professor, the director of Advanced Innovation Center for Future Education at Beijing Normal University. He's also a director of the Joint Laboratory of Mobile Learning within the Ministry of Education China Mobile Communications Corporation. He was selected for the Ministry of Education's New Century Excellent Talent Support Program and the National 100 Million Talents Project, and was awarded the title of Young and Middle-Aged Expert with Outstanding Contribution by the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, and received a special government allowance from the State Council of China. He's the Associate Editor of IEEE Transactions of Learning Technologies, and he's also a member of the Expert Committee of Research on Audiovisual Education, Research on Open Education, research on modern distance education, information technology education in primary and secondary schools, information technology education, digital technology in primary and secondary schools, and other journals. Professor Yu has published more than 200 papers in academic journals and conferences and 10 books, some of which have played significant roles in the area of educational technology in China. Dr. Yu has led more than 70 research projects and owns 8 patents in his field. His research interests include artificial intelligence education, ubiquitous learning, big data in education, etc. And I have to say, I've had the great pleasure of working and collaborating with Professor Yu for some years now, not only within APSI, within the Asia Pacific Society for Computers and Education, but also within the International Standardization Group that works within ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. So just before I hand over to you, Professor, I'll just request that everybody participating today get ready with their questions, but if they have any questions, can you please make use of the Q&A option within Zoom, not the chat. We do find the chat stream sometimes a little bit distracting if that's happening on the side. So please just put your questions within the Q&A section, and after about 45 minutes, we will open things up for questions. So Professor Yu, I think it's over to you now. Really looking forward to learning more about this project that you've been working on for some years now. I know a little bit about the standard that's been developed, but I'm sure everybody tuning in today is really keen to learn something about learning cell.
Okay, thank you, John, Professor John. It's my honor to have a chance to be talk in here. First, I have to say sorry for my English, but I will try my best. Today, my topic is from learning object to learning cell, a resource organization model for ubiquitous learning. Ubiquitous learning is the future. Is the future, but ubiquitous learning not just means anytime, anywhere, mobile. Not just means on demand, but more about social, situated, context awareness, adaptive. So it's the new feature of the ubiquitous learning, and is the core idea advanced in the ubiquitous learning. Not just anytime, anywhere, and mobile, but more social, situated, context-aware, and adaptive. So the concept model of ubiquitous learning, when we are in a situation, say you can connected the learning platform, cloud platform, by the mobile devices. Then the mobile device can sense your situation and send to the education cloud computer center. The computer center can calculate your needs and then recommend learning resource and recommend the social cognitive network behind the resource and recommend the learning service. So you're in the ubiquitous learning, not just for the content, but also the service and the cognitive network. So how to organize the content in the ubiquitous learning environment is a key question. So our research is focused on the learning resource organization model in a ubiquitous learning environment. So if we can see the development of learning resource technology, we can some key steps. The first is the reusable learning unit initiated resource sharing research, and it emphasizes the combination then the reusable small resized learning resource unit. The second step is the SCORM. The learning object model provides solutions for data exchange between different learning management systems, allowing structured and interactive learning objects to be shared between LMS. The third is the LMS learning design specification. The learning active model supports high-level sharing of learning process and activities by reusable learning method, learning strategies, and learning activities. The emergence of IMSLD and extend the sharing learning resource from learning objects to learning activities, signaling a shift in a learning resource sharing from a technology problem to an education problem. However, the sharing of learning active design is not the ultimate goal of learning resource sharing. New learning technology aims to cater to ubiquitous learning. There are some new questions that need to be addressed in ubiquitous learning. For instance, how to share the generated information during the learning process, and how to adapt learning content for personalized learning, and how to evolve learning content and evolve content, and how to share the social cognitive networks as well as resource, etc. So the key of the ubiquitous learning resource is learning resource should have the ability to adapt to different learners' needs under different learning contexts. Learning resource should support the interaction not only between learners and resource, but also interaction between learners and other learners, and resource and resources. The learning resource should evolve according to the contribution of learners to new knowledge, so that they can be continuous adapt for learners with diverse needs. In order to support personalized learning, dynamic and distributed resource aggregation should be provided to learners with different learning requirement. So this research is trying to propose a new kind of learning resource organized model, means learning cell. So the first is the design of ideas of the learning cell. So the learning cell is a metaphor. So the cell, we reference the first is the complement. Learning cell can compose high-level learning resource like a cell. It means the units can be reusable dynamic. The second means is the origin. Learning cells grow from small to big, from weak to strong, like a cell. Is the learning source is a growing resource. It can absorb collective intelligence and wisdom. The third is like a nervous cell. The learning cell can unite to get intelligence, like a cell. So the network, according to the semantic relations, could get the intelligence, communication ability. This means the learning cell. So they have some core ideas, design ideas. The first design idea is the modularity. So the learning cell is the fundamental complement, describing the characters of standardization. So the learning cell is the basic unit of dynamic reconfiguration, the fundamental knowledge of multiple reuse. So this is the learning cell is a dynamic structure to aggregate resource. So the learning cells can aggregate to knowledge group. Knowledge group can aggregate the knowledge cloud. So and the learning cell knowledge group and the knowledge cloud can be in the personal space and the learning communities. This is a first idea. The second idea is dynamic. Learning cell is interactive, describing the characters of participation and interactive. So the learning cell knowledge community offers the base of dynamic learning activities and integrate the design of content and activities. So the learning cell not just the multimedia content, but the content and learning active integrate. So this is a content. This is learning active. So integrate design of content and activities. So the system supplies the library of learning activities. The third is the learning cell is a connective, describing the characters of comprehensive. So learning cell adopt dynamic metadata description based on the semantic technology, and make the dynamic knowledge connection based on collection of the content significance. So learning cell adopts a semantic based on network aggregation model in which different components dynamic content connected with each other to form a network. Different learning resource can be aggregated into one learning cell, and different learning cell can be aggregated into large-scale knowledge cloud. So different from the tree structure of learning objects, learning objects aggregation model, The aggregation model of learning cell is a dynamic network. From resource organization to knowledge organization, from the line tree structure to network structure. This is the thematic network aggregation model. So learning cell can use the thematic technology to aggregate knowledge and related users through the thematic relationship behind the knowledge and visualize it. So the learning cell can aggregate domain resource based on thematic technology. This is the third idea. The fourth idea is the evolvable. Learning cell is the evolution. So it describes the characters of generation. The learning cell can absorb the resource generated by users during the learning process and dispose the collective wisdom. It is by means of the generative resources controlled by thematic gene and grown orderly. So learning cell consider learning resource as an organism from the ecological perspective, combine thematic gene and the social trust model technology to automatically control the orderly evaluation of learning resource in an open ecological system. So an open content organization can enable multiple users to create and edit content, allowing to update and develop, and controlled by the thematic ontology. So interpersonal networks are formed when users perform virtuous learning-related activities on the resource. So it's the relation evaluation of learning resource. Learning cell organizing all elements of the learning process into an orderly whole. The gene of the learning cell is formed according to the ontology-based knowledge structure and the aggregation model, which controls the evaluation and development of each learning cell, like the plants gene, the growth of a plant controlled by the gene, and the learning cell evaluation is controlled by the ontology. Evaluation and growth have a structure characters, which is closely related to the mode of internet knowledge structure for learning cells. They are cohesive growth rather than the amylase growth. So learning cell is the orderly evaluation and growth. And the learning cell and another idea is the social. So the learning cell is intelligent, describing the characters of social. So learning cell consider people as the important content of the learning and gather the collective intelligence, building the knowledge-centered network of social service. So learning cell have some rules for creator, learner, subscriber, expeller group, and the collaborator. So every learning cell have some different rules. The learning cell can be connected by the thematic technology. So through the resource connection, the people can be connected. So learning cell to combine the material resource with the human resource compose the network of knowledge recipients, which dynamically develops the network comprehensive. The network comprehensive to the certain scale and depends where have the social intelligence and have the social intelligence. So then it's embodying the link between the material resource and the human resource. Is not the social network, and also is not the knowledge network. Is the combine the social network and the knowledge network. Is the social knowledge network, embodying the link between the material resource and human resource to construction knowledge network social knowledge network. So this is not just social, not just the knowledge. It's a social and knowledge in a network. It's a social knowledge network. Social network. So the learning cell is from the informative connection to human connection. In the common website courses, people just see the content from the LMS, but in learning cell, the people can be part of the courses, a part of the content. So the connection not just the content, but the connection between the people and the people to content. So this is a social knowledge network. So from the informative connection to human connection, human knowledge connection. This is then in the social network, knowledge is access for human connection. So we can connect some knowledge node and get the social knowledge network and the service. So it's the knowledge is access for human connection. Siemens proposes a connectivity. He thinks the network is learning. He thinks that the knowledge is distributed. So the learning cell idea is consistent with the connectivity, which implies that the knowledge is the access of human connection. Network connection is the learning. Distributed knowledge presentation, you can get the learning method and the knowledge from other. So this is engineer ideas of connectivity. The last idea is the contextual. So learning cell is transformable. It describing the characters of context adaptation. So the learning cell adapts the terminal device of user access and adapts the learning context of user's access. The learning cell can adapt to different cloud terminals. So it can be in different format. So this is the learning cell. Learning cell polymorph knowledge representation project. For this one Excel, then one for electronic box, one for interactive model, one for VR model. Now this is every learning cell have multi formats for different formats. And another, every learning cell can adapt according to the context. So this is for example, this is the learning cell for principal accounting balance. The principle is the same in different situation, different context is there, but the learning cases is different. For when one accountant in trading company, the learning cell can supply the trading company cases. When an accountant in a high-tech company cases, he can get the high-tech company cases. Different rules can get the different cases. So this is the learning cell can be transformable. They can adapt to different content according to different rules. So this is the core ideas of learning cell is in dynamic structure. Learning cell is not a static resource, but a dynamic resource aggregation model. Learning cell is stored in cloud compute environment. The learning cell is describing structure, and the real content is stored in the cloud compute environment. So it's like a glacier model. When you see just a little, but in the under the water they have more. Like like a glass model. So when someone in a context, he can access a learning cell, the system can calculate the context and they get the some needed information, some needed information to fill the structure. Then he can get the content according the content according the context, get the content. Different context can get the different content. So this is a dynamic structure, and this is a container. The learning cell uses a dynamic structure. So the structure and the content is divided in different place. So this is the content adapted according the context. So this is the contextual core idea. So this is the learning cell design core ideas. So we have developed a learning cell knowledge community and proposed based on the core ideas and proposed a double helix active model for deep learning based on the learning cell. In this model, learners and instruction are equal and can exchange their rules. Learner can be teacher can be learners. They are supported by the social knowledge network. Is a knowledge network and the social network. During the implementing process, through the design of learner-centered interactive actives, users can be guided to expand the knowledge network and in the personal network dynamic, and through the spiral development and of knowledge and social network, realize the development of high-level thinking. So through the different learning activity and supported by the social network, make the student can from the accept knowledge to the participate the knowledge and the contribution the knowledge to make realize development of high order thinking. So the different levels activities is the learning by reading, learning by listening, learning by watching. The second is learning by doing, learning by connecting, learning by reorganization, learning by comparing, learning by reflection, learning by communication, learning by context aware, learning by teaching, and learning by collection. So by the support of the social network, the student can do different level activities. Then to realize the development of high order thinking. So make the learning is the learning by creating to the learning by creating. This is the double helix active model for deep learning based on learning cell. This is the core ideas of the learning cell organization. The second I will talk about some information about the ISO standard based on the learning cell. In this year, ISO published ISO IEC 23126 information technology for learning, education, and training, ubiquitous learning resource organization and discipline framework. This standard, the core idea come from the learning cell. So this standard how for the core components of learning cell framework is the aggregation model, learning cell service provider, content organization, and the context-aware learning service. The aggregation model defines the structure of a learning cell. The content organization provides detailed description for the elements and the features in a learning cell. Context-aware learning service can support learning situated learning based on the model and the organization. And finally, the learning cell service provider can help the learning cell service be used by different systems and platform. This is the complements of learning cell framework. Now, they have 4 core components. The first component is the aggregation model. So learning cell not a static resource, but learning cell is a dynamic structure. It is organized based on specific knowledge and is related to one learning object. This is a learning object, thematic information, content, activities, and the social network. That they can aggregate different content and different information. At the back of structure, there are large amount of resources used to support the dynamic aggregation of the learning cells for learning based on the structure, environment, and the context. The aggregation learning cell can be presented to learners as a learning cell utility. So the different assets or materials can be aggregated to the learning cell. Learning cell can aggregate knowledge cluster, knowledge group, and the knowledge group can aggregate the knowledge cloud. So the learning cell not a static resource, but a dynamic structure. Different materials can be aggregated to learning cell. Learning cell can be aggregated to knowledge group. Knowledge group can be aggregated knowledge cloud. So this is an aggregation model. The second is the description of the content organization. So the learning cell can be have 2 parts. One is the dynamic structure, content organization of the description. The second is the container. Every learning cell have a container. Content organization mainly realizes the description of the utilities and their relations, which constitute learning cell. There are 4 kinds of proper description. For example, contextual, thematic, social, and evolvable. The learning cell container provides a space and classification management, which make this disorder resource a well organization. Every material is stored in the container. In the container, knowledge ontology describes the basic concept and the internal concept relations of related knowledge, which are used to construct effective aggregation models and promote the aggregation of learning cell component. So the learning cell is divided, the organization, content, description, and the container. So in the organization and in the content organization, they have four core description. The first is the content organization, a description of context property. So learners under different content need different in different context need different context. So different learners in the different context, they can get the different content, different format, different kind of resources. So they can get the context service. This is how to realize the context preference. So every learners in different context, the sensor technology can get the equipment information, time and space information, physical state, and the instruction state, and the learning state, and make the adaptive resources and adaptive content and adaptive result. In different situation can get the different resource. This is core ideas. And the second is the content organization is the description of the social property. The property. Learning cell is connecting the learners and the knowledge. Finally, we are established the social knowledge network. So connect the content to pupil, pupil to pupil, pupil to content, knowledge social network. So this we defined the knowledge social knowledge space, social knowledge space. So the co-knowledge, the knowledge and the pupil. We defined the connection between the knowledge and the knowledge and the pupil, pupil and the pupil. So we can connect in person knowledge. We define the different person to person relations, knowledge and knowledge relations, and the person to knowledge relations. Then we can compose the social knowledge space. Social knowledge space. This is the second component. The content organization, the description, the evaluative property, evaluable content evaluation. The content of learning resource could evaluate the learning interaction. So there are two types evaluation. One is the content evaluation, and one is the relation contention. So this is a content. Different people added the content, make the content evaluation, and another is the learning resource can get connected to each other by semantic information, which is interactive in the learning space. Then the content can be connected each other. They are compose a larger knowledge cluster and the knowledge group. So this is describing the evaluation properly. Now, so the learning cell is how to control the evaluable. So everyone added the content. Then we can, by the semantic technology, make the automatic machine audit, or by the manual audit. This is a correlation control model. Then aggregate new learning cell. The procedure in realizing two kinds of evaluation. One is the content, one is the relations. And the relation is the learning cell. When someone interacts with the learning cell, they can get add some relations. Then the relations is controlled by the control quality control model. Then could get aggregated to the knowledge class. This is evaluative. So the standards of this standard is the core ideas of social context and evaluable. So the third component is the context-aware learning service. So the context-learning service mainly senses the learner's learning context and the requirement, and according to aggregate adaptive learning resource for them. So when some student access a learning cell, the learning cell senses the learning needs and learning context, and send the context information to the container. The container recommend the resource, learning active, and the social network to organize the content and form a learning cell to the student. And the container's information is come from a website in different other platform. So this is a resource bank, other website that in a topic, in some topic, the container aggregator according to the topic to store the where organization the different resource and make the adaptation. This is a context-aware learning service. So during the process, The resources are provided by the container, and the container, the resource, is come from different platform in the different websites. So the container, like a bank, is well structured. It including the ontology, activity, learning object, the strategies, tools, evaluation, multimedia content generation with groups, recordation. Is the topic, you focus on one topic. It can well organization different contents, then get to the different learning cells. So this is a context-aware learning service. The container and the dynamic structure is the core ideas of the learning cell. The fourth component is the this is the example. For example, this is a container. There are different content described by the thematic information described. Then when someone with the learning cell, the container gives some information to the learner according to the context. So in the container, resource with the classifications and the text in container with the thematic text, well organization. And when someone learning with the learning cell, the container gives some information needed to the learner. Then the student see just some information from the container. So different learners with the learning cell, they can get the different information, different content. So this is the core idea, the context-aware learning service. This is the third component. The fourth component is the service provider. The learning cell service could provide the service for different learning management system, and also other learning management system could register service for itself for ask for service in other MS. The shareable learning cells description interface is which can provide register for service and the resource in different LAMs. And the SLDI could realize open access of service and the resource stored in different LMS. So because learning cell is in cloud stored model, so it can be shared in different learning management system. So if you register for the SLDI, then you can get the different. You can share the learning cell service in different learning platform. The standard describing the mechanism of service provider. This is a brief introduction of the learning cell framework in the standard. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Professor Yu. That was a very, really stimulating presentation from you about learning cell, and I'm sure that others who have been watching the presentation were as stimulated as much as I have been. I couldn't help thinking while you were presenting how well you've made good use of biological metaphors, whether you're talking about nerve cells or double helixes, whatever it is. I think that's quite a powerful metaphor throughout, and it made me think that if we think 20 years ago to the work that some of us were participating in then with the development of learning object metadata and the original learning management systems and that kind of work, we were working on systems learning technology systems. In a way, it seems to me, to use your metaphor, you've just given us a presentation about a learning technology ecosystem, because you're integrating so many different facets of what is available to learners these days, and also to educators. So yeah, a really fascinating presentation. Lots of questions I had along the way myself, but I think just at this stage, perhaps, does anybody have a question? And if you have a question, can you please raise your hand? Okay, Professor Marumida Bararacha, would you like to open your microphone and ask your question?
Yes, thank you for this presentation, and it was very inspiring and stimulating, and a new concept basically. I just want to find out that this system has been used for individual learners or in collaborative groups as well. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So Professor Yu, did you hear the question?
Can you? I'm sorry if someone can help me with translation the question, or I beg pardon, I cannot understand the question. I can the English some different. So I'm sorry for my English. Can you tell me again?
Is it for individual learner, or it has been used for collaborative learning situations also? Because because the context may be different for different learners, and if they are doing a collaborative group work, how the system works that way.
Can you text it in the question and answer?
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you. I'm sorry for my English.
You're doing very well, Professor. I think if I could paraphrase, maybe the question is about whether or not you've implemented this learning cell architecture for collaborative learning contexts where some students might be learning across different contexts. Maybe my English is also a little bit difficult.
Sorry, it's my question. It's my question, because I hope you can text the in the question and answer.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, because my English is very poor. So.
Okay. So then, just while that question is being put into the chat, Professor Yu, I wonder if you could say a little bit more about the social trust model, how that works. Does that can only work once the interfaces have been activated, I would assume, yes?
Yeah, I see the question in the text.
Okay.
I understand the question. Thank you. I think in our team have done many practice based on the learning technology. They are in different learning different scenario. There are some use the context ideas, you can support the individual learners. But if you use the social knowledge network, it can be supported as a collaborative learning. So learning cell can be used in the individual learning. Also can be used in the collaborative learning, because they have three core idea. The context ideas is support. It can be supported the individual learner, and the social knowledge network is can support the collaborative learning. I hope I can answer the question.
Thank you, Professor Yu.
Yeah, about the social trust model. When some we use the we use the technology in the content evaluation. When someone when some content, many people added the content, but which content is the correct? Which content we can select it. So we use the two kind of technology. One is the semantic computing to select the similar content. The second uses a social trust computing model. So if someone is expert or have the similar knowledge background, then we can give the more rights. So we can according the pupil trust the values, then decide the which content can be accepted. I can show a picture for more detail.
Okay, that would be good.
This is the core ideas about the social trust model. Use the control content evaluation. So the first is semantic calculation. The second is social trust compute. Then compute the collective. When it is the for some, when it is the accepted, then it can accept the editing. If the low, then it rejects the edit.
Okay, so in a similar way, we already have evidence of this in the social network, where you know, it begins with members, people in a social network liking something, and then they move from liking a resource or a post to rating. Perhaps, for example, we might rate the Uber driver, or the delivery of the Uber Eats service, or something like that. I imagine it's a similar kind of process you're talking about. But I guess there is another question there about the protocols the social learning cell interface that you define. Are you able to talk a little bit more about that one as well? The actual interface that enables the discovery and the integration of different instances of learning cells?
Excuse me, can you type the text?
I will type some more text. Okay.
Sorry.
So I just put that in the text. Yeah.
Okay, I will share the. So the learning cell description interface is the idea is based the web service service oriented architecture. So in the SLDI, they have some three detail apartment. One is the data model, one is the API, one is the register. So different platform can register in the SLDA. Which learning cell can be shared, and what the data can be shared, what's the data, and by which API can share. Then when someone registered here, the other platform can find the registered information and get the API to access the data from the learning cell. I think it is this is a general process of the SLDI worked.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Yu. So let me just check once more if there's anybody else with a hand up. You want to ask another question? We just only have a couple of minutes left. I know, Professor Yu, I think one thing would be very interesting to the APSI community would be to invite you back sometime to perhaps give a demonstration of the learning cell in operation. It could be very interesting to see how some of these dynamic interactions actually take place. The architecture itself seems incredibly well detailed. You have got good elaboration of the architecture, and it seems to be motivated by very, very big ideas. So congratulations on your work on producing this. It really does take the idea of learning objects to a new level when we're thinking about resource aggregation and aggregating actual learning activities with the learning content, and including other learners and other people in the network as part of that, part of the dynamics of the learning. So yeah, really a very, very fascinating presentation, Professor Yu. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so let me just check once more. Anybody got any last comments? So then I think at this stage then, Professor Yu, I would like to thank you once again for your time, for this presentation. The presentation has been recorded, will be available on the APSI YouTube channel, and it's yet another example, I guess, of how useful these webinars can be for the APSI community and for any researchers involved in the learning technology area. Emerging technologies are very important, how we architect the next iteration of that, and so the work you're doing at Beijing Normal University looks like it's really important work. Okay, so thank you very much again, Professor Yu. Thank you for everybody for your attendance, and I hope that was useful to you all there. So you can, I'll just see people making comments in the chat there now. Thank you very much. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you for everyone. Thank you.